Do you like Dungeons and Dragons?
Do you like monsters?
Do you like Dungeons and Dragons and monsters?
Then we've got a show for you.
Kill Every Monster is a 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons podcast. In each episode, we are joined by a guest to discuss the lore, mechanics, and story potential of classic D&D creatures.
We debate tactics, and we talk about how to maximize these monsters both in combat and in your stories. And then we ask the very important question, is this even really a monster? To learn more about the show, head on over to killeverymonster.com.
And we'll see you next time for Kill Every Monster.
You know things, I know some too. Sit right down, the femsplain them to you. If there's a thing you want to explain, these two feminists can entertain. Nerdy stuff, sexy stuff, so much to know. Tune in for the Femsplain Show.
Femsplain! Hi, Avalon.
Hello, listeners.
Oh, whoa. I don't get a hello this time. It's just straight
I'll leave
to
it
the
up.
listeners.
I'm going to leave it up to the listeners for if they want to say hello.
Oh, okay.
After what you
did. Are there sore feelings?
Mm-hmm.
Do we maybe have a little bit of sore feelings because your theory didn't pan out?
Oh. No, I was just being sassy, but I feel like my theory definitely panned out.
It did not. I did 2 separate polls.
Oh. No. I'm sorry. My theory that the internet is Diana werewolf simping definitely played out.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That theory might have played out.
Yeah.
However, this was not a situation like our Little Mermaid kerfuffle where I won the argument, but everyone else truly agreed with you.
Yes, this was much worse. This was people didn't even care enough about the argument or the podcast to actually pay attention to what happened.
I do. People caught on to your carefully selected questions. Like quantity of media over quality of media.
I didn't say over quality of media.
You specifically chose quantity of media.
That's because I could only have 5 categories. I
Based
could come back
on?
with quality too, I guess.
I'm just saying it was the deck was stacked in favor of vampire, but I came out on top.
Okay. I think that if anything, that just ended up being a very clear popularity contest. It was like
I shared No. I shared nothing from my Twitter account. Only from Femsplain's Twitter.
This won't mean anything to you, but there's a season of RuPaul's Drag Race where someone truly horrible is a contestant.
Okay.
And who I guess has redeemed themselves since then. I don't know. But at the time was horrible. But they had such a rabid internet following that they won Miss Congeniality, which was bullshit because they were not nice and everyone knew it. And that's how I feel. I feel like you are Valentina.
I feel like I should be properly offended. I don't know who Valentina is, but I am nice.
Yes, but you did not deserve the win.
And werewolves are legitimately very cool.
They are so cool. But vampires are better.
Okay.
But there's a lot of things werewolves are better than.
It's just not vampires.
It's just not vampires.
Can you just give me a couple of examples of things werewolves are better than?
Werewolves are better than the swamp thing.
Okay.
I was going to say The Mummy, but I changed my mind.
The Mummy? Like
I don't know.
Concept
Mummies?
of mummies, or like the mummy from Brendan Fraser's The Mummy?
Honestly, both of those are better.
The werewolves beat mummies as a concept, but the mummy from Brendan Fraser's The Mummy,
Yeah.
I think
mean,
it has a little bit
yeah.
of, at least is closer in competition. I don't know if he wins because
Just like in terms of universal monsters, I guess they're better than mummies. But when you think about sort of like all of the science and culture and history that goes into mummification, I do think that is werewolves beat.
good. This is a podcast.
Yeah, this is a podcast. I should have said zombies. I think werewolves are definitely cooler than zombies.
Werewolves are cooler than zombies.
Yeah.
They tried real hard to do a zombie romance, and actually I don't hate it.
You love that.
I know, but
You love that show.
but it didn't catch fire. You know, it didn't. It
Yeah.
didn't strike lightning the way that
Not like Teen Wolf
yeah,
did. Yeah.
it didn't start a movement. The CW didn't pick up a bunch of other zombie romance pitches after that film, which, you know, I would have loved to have seen. You know, in iZombie, there's a side plot where there is a show that's like canon in that universe that's like the equivalent, I guess, of the Vampire Diaries or whatever, but it is about zombies. So that they can play parallels to what's happening on the show and what's happening in the show within a show. It's pretty fun. And then they,
My mom
you know, had to
tried to
escalate
make me
it
watch that.
and turn one of the actors into a zombie and kill everyone. But
I'm not watching it.
no, don't. You know, iZombie. iZombie season 1 is a real romp, super entertaining, fun time, and Raul Coley's in it, and it's good. And then it's a lot of hard spirals downward really fast and really rapidly. And then, but if you're like me and you get invested in characters and can't let go of them until it's over, you're in for like a really, really rough time watching that show.
Well, werewolves are definitely better than that.
Yeah.
We can say that with confidence.
Yes, we can all agree. This is a podcast. It's called Femsplained.
Yes, yes. You do know that because you have elected to listen to it on some kind of podcast platform.
Yeah. You downloaded it and you opened it. You turned on your headphones and here you are.
And surprise, this is
surprise.
the final episode.
It's because of that whole werewolf vampire thing. It really tore us apart. We before we go into our homework, because this is a homework episode. What should we do in our nerd culture? What's nerd culture done for you lately?
That is the topic that we, should segue into now, and you should take the lead on it.
Okay. So here's a couple of things that nerd culture has done for me lately. It's been really cool. Number one is that I've really gotten into KOllOK, which is like a big rabbit hole, and I'm like digging my way through all of the content that I missed from it. But it's a like a tabletop RPG actual play, but it's different. It's not like it's kind of like if you took LARPing and mixed it with tabletop RPGs. It kind of made me think of Queer Arcana and how they do like physically act out their D&D campaign in like a LARP style as a performance on a live stage, except this is like recorded in a studio live. But they're doing the same kind of thing where they're like doing like cued stage effects. And everybody is completely in character. There is no like jumping in and out. It's very, very immersive to watch, and it's very intense, and it's very cool and original.
What's the tone?
dark, like post-apoc kind of vibes. So that's been a big one. I just like whenever people do new stuff, like kind of breaking the mold of this format we're in. And then the other big one has been, so you know that there's been some really transphobic like laws happening in Texas, and things going on there. And so I got to be a part of this big bundle, which I've never done before. I've never been part of one of these before. On itch.io, where a lot of people who don't publish D&D related stuff publish their original content for games. And there's like a feature on that site where writers of these can like put all of their stuff into one package for one solid price and either split it evenly between all of them or donate all of it to a charity. And so 300 games were donated into this bundle, including a couple of mine, and then like some like really big ones like Thirsty Sword Lesbians and Wander Home. And actually I want to check what the numbers are at right now, because this is all being donated to different trans advocacy groups in Texas. And it's, if I recall, all right, so we're at $273,000, and like it's actually it's 273,888. So it's like getting close to getting to the like final goal, or maybe not final goal, of $300,000. And it's just been like, I don't know, it's been like really cathartic and nice, and like people from like all ends of the community have been like great about it. Like, you know, people who work for like D&D Beyond and like Matt Mercer and like all of the big people who are kind of not usually cued into the goings on in like indie TTRPG writing, but like they've been really supportive of it. And then like all of indie creators being like really celebrated for it, and like everybody just being, I don't know, it's like a nice moment in time amidst a lot of horrible things. So yeah, I've really liked watching this happen and watching the reactions to it, and how they've been overwhelmingly positive and overwhelmingly supportive, and it's just been super nice.
Yeah. I saw today that there is a similar initiative fundraising for Ukraine.
Yeah.
And I kind of wondered if it would contain the same. I know the point really isn't what you're getting out of it in a way. You know, you're not looking for like the best deal on the bundle package to help a human rights issue.
Right.
But I did kind of wonder if it made sense to do both, or
focus on
if you were involved in the Ukraine one, or if you knew anything about that one.
It's really, well, that's a really good question, because I actually don't know if you can contribute the same. I don't have that many games, so I don't know if I can contribute them to more than one at once. That'd be good to look into. But yeah, the fun part is that people are largely donating more than what the bundle costs, like even though they don't have to. So people can get all of these games for like $5, but the average contribution is $10, which means that there are lots of people paying, you know, more than that,
of course,
to get that down. I think like people are paying like some people are paying like $50 to get all this, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did just see the one for Ukraine, and I actually don't know off the top of my head how it's doing, but I just think it's really neat when, you know, people, because in my honest opinion, like indie game writers, frankly, like even if they're bigger, don't make a lot of money like off their games. So to donate your work and say that like 30,000 people can have this for free or for like basically free for 50 cents comparatively, so that something good can happen is pretty freaking cool to me. Like it's a cool community investment that I really like.
I strongly agree.
Yeah.
I think it's really powerful to see that kind of, I guess, just sort of unity around that. I know that indie writing, self-publishing, you know, is more of a labor of love anyway. So I don't necessarily think that people are really taking a hit for maybe sales that they would have had. But I think that just the community building that's intrinsic in that is really important.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so that's what it's done for me. What about you?
Well, certainly not anything with that sort of like emotional depth and significance. I just had wanted us to go off a little bit because I don't think it warrants an episode on Encanto, because I thought that was a real cultural moment that we missed when we weren't recording.
Oh
Encanto.
gosh, can I tell you about when did you see it?
You have to recut it. I saw it pretty shortly after it came out, but I know that you had already seen it because when I reached out to you about it, I thought that you wouldn't have seen it yet, but you had.
Yeah. I was very excited. Did you watch it? Is Robin old enough to like kind of get some joy out of watching musical movies yet?
Robin is old enough to get some joy out of music, and Robin is old enough to get some joy out of cartoon images.
Okay. All right. That's cool.
So, yeah.
All right. That's pretty
He definitely likes screen time, like to the point where I have to be conscious of it.
Sure.
But
yeah.
But I wouldn't say that he was the motivating force for watching it. But it was one of the first new release Disney films that I've seen.
Yeah.
Like in a timely fashion since I don't even know, like maybe Up.
Wow. Yeah.
Or Brave. Probably Brave.
Okay.
Was the last one I watched. So it's weird for me to have watched it. And I thought it was good.
Oh my gosh. I just remember I watched it with my friends Andre and Christian over a Discord call the first time. And I believe they both had seen it already. At the very least, Andre had seen it. And I forget if Christian had or not. And I just remember that like the movie ended and then we stopped it. And Andre was like, okay, so what childhood trauma did it unlock for you? Like, I was like, oh, yeah, it was. But it was a really beautiful movie.
I thought it was really good. I thought that it had a weak third act.
Okay. Go on about that.
Well, I just think that not only was like the music and the character development really strong to me in the first and second act, I just feel like the stakes were different maybe than what we're used to seeing in a Disney film.
Sure.
And so I think that the resolution inherently wasn't going to have as strong of a payoff as like fighting a giant monster.
Right.
You know.
Well, I happen to think that this is, especially because it's of several things, including the fact that it's Lin-Manuel, and also because of how some of the like staging of this cartoon was done. I think this is not a 3-act Disney show. I think this is a 2-act play. Like, I think this is a 2-act musical.
Where are you putting the intermission?
In the Isabella song, is that it? Yeah, after
No.
I think after Isabella's song.
No, it would have to be earlier than that, I think.
It would either have to be after Isabella's song or after
I think it would be yes.
after We Don't
think
Talk
what
About
you're saying.
Bruno. The song. Wait.
Okay, so it's either I know, but there's so many like reprisals of
Yeah.
everything in that movie. Okay, so I'm thinking yeah, it's either her at the moment of her regret about talking about Bruno or at the moment of like having that seance with Bruno and then realizing she has to go see Isabella.
Yeah. And then I think that if
I think you're right about Bruno.
yeah, and then I think that if we do get a stage show about this, which I genuinely hope for, we'll go see.
I mean,
I think
probably.
there's room for like 1 to 2 more songs about the other cousins.
There's definitely room for more about the other cousins. But switching to your 2-act format, I'm going to say the second act is definitely, to me, weak compared to the first act.
It doesn't have a showstopper or like a
It doesn't have a showstopper. And honestly, like, I think the conflict, I think there could have been more conflict.
I get that feeling, but I kind of think that that's just what we're used to from Disney films. Because I kind of
agree.
really loved
Yeah.
that the conflict was really relatable in like it was focused on like the inevitable forgiveness and the inevitable, like almost like Moana did have that like sort of element of like forgiveness and stuff with the monster at the end. There was just a big confrontation first. Like there was that kind of resolution. But I feel like this whole movie was geared towards like the journey we knew that the entire time that the end result needed to be that everybody resolved it and forgave each other, which I liked. I think it doesn't feel like it fits the formula. Like it absolutely is not what we're used to. So it does feel a little bit like it's not giving us that like climax in the place that it's supposed to be.
I feel like that made it special. And I love it on the whole. But I do feel like in terms of a captivating story structure, there was like a little fizzle when there could have been a firework.
Yeah. Where would you have put the fizzle?
The fizzle firework? I think I might have had Bruno. I think that somebody's life needed to be in danger. Or I think there just needed to be some kind of a threat besides the loss of house and loss of magic. Like, I think that Bruno maybe could have, like, saved his mom. Like, maybe she was, after the house falls down, maybe she, like, is in danger in some way. And he has to save the grandma, and, like, it helps her see everybody's value. Or, like, people have to come together to solve a problem without their power, besides in, like, a house-building montage.
Don't you think that that Mirabelle's being the one that is like trying to go for the candle and like that is the one that is like in danger is kind of like it keeps the focus that she is taking the torch from her grandmother, that she's like the one that is inheriting this. So I kind of think this is not what this episode's about, but
No,
I kind of
it is now.
but I kind kind of think that it's kind of it's showing from the beginning that she is meant not to inherit a new power, but to take over her grandmother's power.
Yeah, I guess maybe also it's a little unsatisfying to me that we don't have like a real answer for why she doesn't get a power, because it never stops feeling like a punishment.
I disagree. I think that at the end it becomes very clear that her grandmother is the one. Her grandmother's power, right, was that, you know, she, in a time of need, she was given this sanctuary for her and her people, and the candle to keep the magical house like alive and well, and to bestow these gifts upon her family, right? But she's not going to be around forever. So what? And the candle is burning out from the beginning of the movie. The candle is like starting to flicker and starting to decay and starting to go out. And someone has to be the one to take that torch. And I think it's just clear that it's got to be Mirabelle, because she's the one that I think, you know, is trying to keep the family together. And
I think that is clearly her role to fill, but I feel like the childhood trauma that the house and candle put her through in assigning her that role is not
well, yeah, but
necessary.
That's also, well, is it not necessary, or is it just a metaphor for like the generational trauma that we put certain people through when in our real lives, when we are passing torches down and having, you know, like, I mean, all of these roles are so relatable. The perfect daughter, and like the strong one that can handle everything, and the one that's got to like be the family glue, and the, you know, the black sheep, and the all of these things are just real things that people are to people in their own real families. We've just described magic powers to them in this metaphor, but they're still real. Like, they're still based on real things that we all kind of put each other through and go through, and, you know, so I think it's kind of part of it that it's unfair. It is unfair, but then hopefully it's healing generation to generation.
What's the lesson?
Maybe I think the lesson is that if your grandmother experienced a genocide, you should actually forgive her for not being perfect. And
that's a hot take.
I do. I genuinely think that.
I mean, you're not. I'm certainly not refuting you, but I do think that take is warm.
Yeah, I think that having empathy that is able to see, to be able to be mad at her for what she did, but then to also be able to forgive her when you understand the context, and also in a nice, perfect Disney world where she recognizes what she did and apologizes, and everything is nice. Obviously, we don't all get that nice Disney resolution at the end, but some empathy for those things, I think was a really nice change of pace, and it was fun. Also, the songs.
Well, it's a
bop.
great film.
Yeah,
it is a bop, and I'm not out here bopping. Generally speaking, I'm not on the bops, but I did like these bops. I do think that the anxiety song is better than the Bruno song.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, that doesn't seem to be a popular opinion.
The pressure song?
Yeah, everybody is way more into Bruno than Pressure.
I love them both. They're my two favorite songs in the
love them
musical.
both.
I think my hot take is I actually think that Isabella's song is the best one. I think I think
it's the most Disney song.
It's the most Disney, but it makes me cry because it's so subverted from Disney's usual take, which is that like I feel like Disney's old take was that the ugly duckling will become beautiful, and this is the opposite of that. It is the girl who was forced to be perfect gets to be herself. And I love it.
I wish they had been brave enough to show that she's definitely gay.
I think I get that, and I think that, you know, I would have loved that, sure, but I think that there's so much going on. You know what? If this movie was 2 more hours long and there was like every family member got like their own individual segment, I would really be happy.
Great family. We love to see it. We're all rooting for them.
Yeah.
We're glad that they are now thriving in their little mountain pass because this was a documentary.
It was a documentary. They're real.
Yes,
of course.
But it's kind of like The Village, where it's like modern times, but they don't know because of their isolation.
Oh, you know, I watched that again recently. It's really bad.
Is it? I believe you.
Really bad. Like, I watched it. I don't know. I was sick a couple months ago, and I sat on the couch and watched it, thinking it would just be like entertaining. It's not even that. The surprise, the twist that M. Night Shyamalan is known for is exposed to the audience in Act 1 of that movie.
Yeah.
It's revealed so quickly. And it's bad. And ableist.
How does Adrian Brody's performance age?
No, bad. Bad. I heard he made another even more ableist film recently about like disabled people on an island or something like that. I did not see it because I don't believe in
Shyamalan?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That movie.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, let me tell you. Francis watched that movie on an airplane with me. And I was watching it without the sound. But I feel like I still got it. But apparently, like, I don't know. It just seems like the worst movie there's ever been.
Yeah.
Like, I could tell the acting was horrendous with no sound. It is fucking weird. I almost want you to watch it because of how bad it is.
Ugh, maybe if I can, maybe I'll P-word it.
What?
Just in case I'll pirate it. Just being.
Oh. I don't know. It's probably just on a streaming service. I definitely thought you meant like pussy. I did not know.
I'll just.
I was just really struggling.
Yeah. I don't know what that would mean ever.
I don't either.
I love it. So.
That's our new catchphrase.
Yeah, let's just pussy it real quick.
Nice. That's the new podcast
podcast title. We've been looking for one. Let's just
pussy it.
So
This is the overdue homework episode.
Yeah, the overdue.
And we're kind of like avoiding talking about it, just like one would avoid turning in overdue homework.
I do like that. I do have overdue homework for you, though.
Oh, for me?
I do. I did overdue homework.
Why are you using the let's pussy it voice?
I just
it's too
I
intimate.
can't help it. I just get so turned on by overdue homework.
Ugh, I wish.
Yeah. Okay.
I'd be horny every day of my life.
So here's what happened. You told me.
I told you.
That there was a comic book based on Jim Henson's The Labyrinth that goes into Jarrett's backstory.
Yeah.
I have read every single stitch of this fucking comic book. This is my favorite comic book. This
It's
is
so good.
better than
Yeah.
the fucking movie. This is,
Yeah.
and it's not just a backstory into like Jareth. It's like the whole story of how like the Goblin City like started, and also like the goblins have backstory
Yeah.
that we
It's
know.
amazing.
The goblins we know
Uh-huh.
have backstory, and then there are new goblins that are cooler, like a fucking talking rose bush. That like, okay, if you saw Labyrinth even one time, I mean, honestly, not even a prerequisite. This comic is so fucking good.
It's so good.
It's so good.
Oh, I thought I was out of my mind.
No. Oh my God.
I was like, how is this real? Whoever wrote this did a fucking genius job. I say whoever wrote this, I could look it up.
I know we could look it up,
should.
but it's genius. Also, the art is incredible. I think the art, like the panel art is gorgeous, but like at the end, like all the concept art that they have done, that's a little bit more like, intricate and detailed, is stunning. Like so stunning, like young Jareth and like the ruins of the Goblin City. It's so intense, and the story is so much more complicated, to the point where it reinforces our thought that Sarah was kind of a wimp, because this Goblin City, terrifying, versus Jareth's Goblin
Way
City
worse.
also makes Jareth kind of look like he grows up to be a little wimpy boy, because his Goblin City, so easy to get through. Never mind like this one with literal like literal tricks and traps, and like your like allies that betray you, and just so, oh my God, it's so good. It's such a good story, and I'm
incredibly thoughtful. Like they really thought about it.
They really did.
And I think it's amazing. I was enjoying it so much as the comics were coming out. They were new when we did our Labyrinth episode.
Yes.
But then when we revisited Labyrinth recently, the comics had gotten to the point where they have the worm. And I was like, all right, I have got to push this fucking comic now that the worm is here.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's... I don't know what like it was. Well, it was laziness that I just did, or dysfunction that I just didn't do it at first when you recommended it. But after I came to visit you, for some reason, this is what triggered it. For some reason, when I went to visit you, and that was like the longest plane ride I've ever been on, and I was so bored on that plane. So I bought a tablet for the plane ride back. To have like something to like look at. And I bought a Kindle. So now I have a Kindle. So I bought all the comic books on Kindle, and they look really good, first of all. And like, it's just like easy to like scroll through them. So I bought them all and read them all and consumed them all so hungrily. And I love them. Yeah.
Oh, that makes me very happy.
Yeah, I'm really stoked about it, and it's also like it's one of those things where like I kind of feel like I wish I could go back and experience this comic again for the first time. Like that's how much I love it. And I've been dying to tell you, but I wanted to tell you on the podcast.
Oh, I'm so glad. I feel like this is like the only homework I've ever given you that you really liked.
That's not true at all.
I guess that's not true, but it's maybe been a while.
Yeah, it's just been a while. But no, I love it. I love this.
Well, listeners, please go read it if you haven't.
Yeah, please read it. Look at the art.
What is it called? Coronation?
Yeah, Coronation.
Labyrinth Coronation?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a limited run, but it's really solid.
It's very solid. And they're all available in like volumes now. So like you don't have to like get the individual comic books. You can get like the whole thing in a compilation. Which I know is nice and easy. And yeah, it's so good. So that's what I wanted to
Okay.
tell you about.
Finally.
What kind of
That was good overdue homework. You get an A+.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What kind of
What other?
what kind of homework do you got?
Well, I don't know. I told you to tell me what I was overdue on, and you were like, just look. And I am lazy and dysfunctional.
Oh,
and I
good.
didn't look.
Okay,
so
good,
if you
good.
remind me of a topic, I'll tell you what I did. But I don't remember what topics I'm overdue on.
Great. Okay. Did you watch Jennifer's Body?
No.
Okay.
Why didn't I do that? That would have been so easy.
That would've been very easy.
I thought we were gonna watch it.
Did you watch any
together.
Black
Was
Sails?
there- Yes.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I watched a lot of Black Sails.
Oh, fuck. Please talk about that. God.
God,
Please.
Diana, it's been so long. I started watching it immediately after we recorded.
Well,
I like it.
okay.
I thought sometimes it was a little boring. Sometimes it had a little bit of the old Star Wars Senate
Sure.
politicking going on.
Sure. That's very, very politicky.
And sometimes their stories came together in ways that I was like, that seems a little far-fetched. Did you have that history last season? Because it feels like it would have changed your dynamic last season if we had found out that was your relationship 20 years ago. But okay. I felt that way sometimes. But I really like the couple.
The couple?
Yeah, you know the couple.
All right.
You know the couple.
Jack Rackham and Anne Bonny?
Yes.
Okay.
So what I thought I was going to be like, I love Anne Bonny and she's got this annoying guy with her because they got together before she realized she was gay. But actually, I like him a lot.
I like
on
him a
his
lot.
own. When they start doing their own separate stuff, I like him quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like their relationship, and I actually like how their relationship evolves after she comes out.
Yes.
Much better. Did you get to the point where she tells him that she can't ever be his wife?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think after that, their relationship staying as strong as it was before is a maybe even stronger, means a lot to both of their characters individually and together as a unit. And I love it. I think that if the relationship you are referring to that seems like it wouldn't have existed the same in season 1 is the one I'm thinking of, I think you should rewatch it because I think
Okay.
it does they do seed it I think very well and very eloquently. For listeners who have not watched Black Sails is a show that has queer people in it, not super sporadically. There are quite a few main characters who are LGBTQ, and it was kind of a big deal when this came out, when it was revealed. Oh, and what was interesting, I have also learned more about the show since we did that episode.
Mm-hmm.
I learned when I did that episode, my one complaint that I reported to you is that there is in season one sexual assault scene that I feel does not add anything to the plot really. They turn it around and it is turned into sort of a women supporting women scenario, and not there's no male savior, which I always hate. But I did more learning about the season, and apparently when the show aired, season 1, they were very much trying to compete with Game of Thrones and tried to sexualize the show as much as possible.
Yeah, that makes
And
sense.
apparently, according to the actors on the show, the writers were given more freedom after season 1 was over because the competition just wasn't happening, and so it was not even worth it to try. It was better to just go into what they were good at. And so it never happens again after that, which I had not really noticed. I was like, usually those shows that lean into those topics, they do it repeatedly over and over again, and it never happens again, and sort of almost like isn't even like referenced as like a traumatic, like it's not like leaned into anymore. And from there on out, it just becomes a really like heavy story, like just beautiful story based on these like relationships. But I love it a lot.
I think that it's interesting to see like the growth of Long John Silver from like a nobody to the sort of like Machiavellian, you know, as he climbs in his influence, because it happens pretty slowly.
Yes.
Like, I don't know how many seasons they thought they would have, but it seems like that arc in a lot of other series would have been within the course of one season, but it really is quite gradual.
It is. It's very slow.
And I liked that because it's kind of like you see his ambition growing, and then he hits a wall and he gets like maybe knocked down one peg, and then he kind of has to try to find it somewhere else.
Yes!
I guess like those little inroads to his own sort of personal form of power and influence. And it's just interesting to see how that weaves around with him.
Right. And like he's like a survivor character, right? Like he'll do whatever he can to stay alive, right?
Yeah.
But like what's interesting, I guess, is that like his relationships with other characters become the thing that like threatens his ability to survive, which then leads to his villainy, which is what we know of him as a character from Treasure Island.
Yeah. For Muppet Treasure Island.
Muppet Treasure Island. Thank you.
Yes. Not as attractive, like not as sort of uncanny sexuality as in Muppet Treasure Island, but
yeah,
that's okay.
But still, you know, we'll give it to him.
I'm not going to give it to him, but you can.
I will. That's fine. Oh, yeah. Wow. Oh, I'm so glad you did get to watch it.
Yeah.
I really, truly think it's so good.
That's been a long time. Like, that really takes me back to how overdue the homework is.
Yeah.
Because it has been so long that I'm actually like, oh, I could do for a rewatch.
Yeah. And I
would
highly recommend it. Honestly, like, if you can get past the slowness, the slow build of season 1 and like the kind of, because it is true, like as soon as it was pointed out to me that season 1 was trying to emulate Game of Thrones, the like slow politic like conversations, the unnecessary like sexual innuendos, like our first encounter with Elizabeth Guthrie, who grows to be one of my favorite characters, is her doing that weird thing where she like sucks her own fingers and makes like a sexual gesture for a room full of guys, like so.
Well, then doesn't she get like beat up by a guy?
Yeah.
Did I invent that?
So that comes way later, and that is
okay.
That is after she betrays.
Is that the guy that was like, I remember when you were the hottest 14-year-old and we used to fuck all the time? And it's like, ooh, maybe you could have fudged that. Maybe you could have said, I remember 10 years ago. And I would sit here and be like, oh, wow, she looks great for 30.
Yeah.
like,
maybe you could have said that differently. Yeah. No, yes. Charles Vane, sorry. After she betrays him, he does kick her ass. And that is, you know, in front of all these people. She does get him killed. As retribution, which is something that upon rewatch, like when I first saw it, I did not care about the death of Charles Vane in the way that the show wanted me to. But when I rewatched it, I realized that the show was dealing with something super complex that I was not really like media savvy enough to pick up on at the time. But Elizabeth Guthrie's character, although she's playing this like kind of girl boss that's taking over the island for her father and like trying to like prove herself and whatever, she ultimately still stands on the side of England. Like she still stands on the side of the colonies. And Charles Vane, we learn later on, has so much invested in everything antithetical to that. And so like they have this complicated relationship, but ultimately like she's ultimately to them, to everyone that's on the side of the pirates, she's on the other side.
Yeah.
I'm gonna recommend to you this video by Rowan Ellis. It is like, it's a long video. It's 100% worth it. But it is like a video essay breakdown of Black Sails and how its storytelling compares to Game of Thrones, because they had tried to emulate it. And also how Black Sails came to a satisfying conclusion, whereas Game of Thrones, as we know, disappointed literally everybody. That
millions and millions of people.
I was talking the other night to somebody, and like, Marty has maybe had 2 panic attacks in front of me, and one of them was because the Game of Thrones ending was so bad.
That's very cute. I was just thinking, like, would that impact your sexual performance? Like, I get, like, you know, obviously super invasive anxiety thoughts. And, like, if I had disappointed millions of people, would I be able to perform sexually? I'm not sure. Like, for the rest of my life, genuinely. And I wonder about that with the showrunners of Game of Thrones.
Well, I mean, they were cocky enough to think that they were going to take over the Star Wars universe like a couple of months later.
I mean, that too.
Yeah. So I don't know. I know that for you and I,
yes,
we have a healthy, or maybe unhealthy in the wrong direction, relationship to our self-esteem. There are plenty of
I know,
there
but
are plenty of people who have too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Was there any other homework?
I didn't have any other homework. That was what I really wanted to tell
Really?
you.
It was just those 2?
Well, I'm gonna hold on to other homeworks for the future.
Oh, fuck. All right.
Do you have
well,
more?
next time, no. I told you I don't even know what the episode is. All right. I promise next time we do a homework episode, I'll have Jennifer's body.
Oh, please.
I must have been waiting for something, because I get so fixated on things that as soon as we finish an episode, I do all the homework like immediately.
Yeah.
And I really remember, like, there was a reason why I was like, oh, I have to hold out for, like, I'll watch it at Halloween, and Halloween is like next week or something.
Yeah, I think it was
came and
something
went.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good.
All right.
Bye.
Oh my God, bye?
No.
I guess it could be.
What are you
All
doing
right.
after this?
I need to cook dinner.
Oh, good.
6 o'clock.
What are you making?
I got a cranky old baby. Something quick.
Okay, good.
Something easy, something quick. What are you doing?
Well, it's like kind of early-ish. I was thinking maybe I might stream, but maybe I will lose motivation as soon as we turn this off. I don't know.
I'm going to tell you, I think you should stream because your hair looks really good.
Thank you.
And also the rest of you. But like
Thanks.
your hair is striking. I don't know if you have a new lighting situation, but it looks glossy and shiny and beautiful.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. And you're parting it on the side that I believe I voted for on the internet.
Yes, you did.
So
Yes, this
that
is the side.
that is acceptable to me.
Thanks.
But I want you to blow it out. I know it's gonna ruin the curl, but I want to see it high femme, like Texas realtor, like flippy Farrah Fawcett.
You know what I look like with that, but I guess it will be long now.
I don't
because it's
I don't
like
know what
when
you
you
look
like
with that.
when you stretch it out, it's gonna be like
Yeah, no, I think it's gonna look like a different person
it is. It's gonna be
in a way that is
super
hilarious.
long.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I'll do it.
Not that I'm pushing for long hair. I just think it'll be funny
All right, great.
how different it is.
I will
not
definitely
in
change
an
my
ugly
appearance
way.
for a joke. You know that I'll do
That's
that.
all I'm asking.
Yeah.
That's all I'm asking.
All right, good. Well, go
All right.
and make some dinner, and I will probably stream.
Oh. Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Where's my mouse?
You can find all of our Femsplained content either on patreon.com/Femsplained, Twitter, you can find us at FemsplainedCast, Instagram, you can find us at Femsplained Podcast, and you can check out superdylan.com/Femsplained to find the guest form and all of the different places where you can listen and connect with us.
Awesome. You can find and follow me, Avalon, at @A_catattack on both Twitter and Twitch.
And you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, TikTok, and all the places at Super Dylan. And that is DILLIN.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your support. Bye.
Bye.
Fun